3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor, 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Tuesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and as always, for now, streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476 is the number to jump on in. And you could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter at Zach Gelb. That is ZACHGELB. We'll be joined by Roddy Jones coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific. ACC Media Days underway. The Big Ten Media Days underway as well. We'll do a ton of college football today, but we'll preview the ACC with ACC Network analyst Roddy Jones coming up 2 hours from now. I got to start with something that we touched on yesterday, and it has to do with the Dallas Cowboys with Micah Parsons and also Dak Prescott getting thrown into the conversation. We know that Micah Parsons doesn't have a new contract. We have seen this offseason Max Crosby get a new contract, Myles Garrett get a new contract, and just so recently, we also saw TJ Watt become the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. So we're sitting here, we are waiting, and we are wondering, when will the Dallas Cowboys get a deal done with Micah Parsons? I don't think it's a matter of if they get a deal done, it's just when. And that's going to be the story as the time ticks away until the start of the football season, and we inch closer and closer and closer. Will they get a deal done by week 1? And history has showed us that the Cowboys will make their star players wait, but they will get a deal done by week 1. We just saw this recently with Dak Prescott. They waited until the Sunday morning of the football season started. I was doing Sunday morning football on the first football Sunday of the NFL calendar year, and we got a breaking news alert a few minutes into the show that Dak Prescott signed a new contract with the Dallas Cowboys. So I've seen this happen before with the quarterback now twice. It wasn't just once. It was twice where we have sat here for years saying, when is Dak going to get his extension? They've made Dak wait longer than most. I think they're going to make Micah Parsons wait, but I would be very surprised if they make him wait up until next year. Like, I think they're going to get this deal done by week numero uno. But anyway, it wouldn't be a Cowboys offseason. It wouldn't be a start to Cowboys training camp at Oxnard without Jerry Jones holding court, Jerry Jones talking to the masses, and as we sit here on a Tuesday in July, on July 22nd, where let's be real, the Cowboys folks should not be in the news. But what should be talked about right now with the Cowboys? All right, you got a good 1-2 punch at wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Dak Prescott coming back from injury. Micah Parsons, the contract situation, it is a topic of conversation, but there really should be no updates here. Like, what is Brian Schottenheimer, your number one as the head football coach? Only the Dallas Cowboys will make him the head coach. There's really not a lot to talk here, folks, about the Dallas Cowboys. And I know how people are going to say this, some people. Oh, it's not really, right, the Cowboys doing much. It's you rats in the national media, right, who have a quota where you got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. If Jerry Jones just acted like a normal owner and Jerry Jones just operated how the majority of the other owners do operate the other day, we would not be talking about the Cowboys today, folks. Maybe there would be a mention of Micah Parsons, but it wouldn't be the lead story on this network. It wouldn't be the lead story on other networks like ESPN and Fox. The Cowboys would not be talked about to death today if it wasn't for the fact that the owner goes about running his team in one specific way. Most owners say two things. How much money can we make? And also, how many wins can we get in a football season? For the majority of the league, it's about money and wins. For the Cowboys, it's about money and headlines. That's what it is. And as I sit here on July 22nd in the year of 2025, let's be real. There is not a day that shows that previous statement that I've just made to make it ring even more true than Jerry Jones talking to the media yesterday. Here is Jerry Jones talking about Micah Parsons and the contract situation, and with Dak's contract already squared away and already done with after like 2-3 years, or 4 years even, maybe even half a decade if you go back to both deals, of Dak Prescott contract news, he found a way to incorporate the quarterback of America's team in Dak Prescott in a conversation about the future payment of Micah Parsons. Listen up to Jerry.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
So you paid Dak, and you're about to pay Micah. But because both have missed some games, you have to go out of your way to say, hey, if we pay them, doesn't necessarily mean that we'll have them. And last year, Dak Prescott, right, he only played in 8 games. Can I just ask a question? What's the point? And I don't think this is out of bounds here. What's the point when talking about a future contract for Micah Parsons in bringing up Dak and highlighting the fact that, yes, we paid Dak and then Dak got hurt? Right? Like, am I taking crazy pills today? Do me a favor. Play that for me one more time, Stu. I need to open my ears a little bit more. And maybe, you know what? I just missed something. Maybe. Maybe it was me. Maybe it wasn't Jerry. It was me. Right? Maybe I'm the big fat moron here. Play that audio one more time.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
Yeah, I didn't miss anything, folks. You paid Dak, and yes, Dak only played 8 games last year. You're about to pay Micah Parsons, who up until last year, I believe missed 1 game in his career. I think 1 game in his career. So we're going to sit here and we're going to discuss as if Micah Parsons isn't usually healthy. Yeah, last year he got hurt. But before that, 16 games played, 17 games played, 17 games played. Like, what are we doing? It doesn't make sense. But here's where I'm not going to freak out. I don't think I freaked out yet on this. I think the old Zach Gelb would be sitting here and would be yelling and would be bitching and would be complaining and would be saying, what the heck are you doing? But I know this is all a game. I do. And I think Dak Prescott knows what to expect in Dallas. Dak will brush this right off his shoulder. And I think Micah Parsons, who likes some drama, likes to be the center of attention, he's going to pretend to care about this with the retweet of what J.J. Watt said. But in reality, Micah Parsons knows the game here. Micah Parsons knows come week 1 of the NFL season, in all likelihood, he's going to have a new contract. And I think Micah has seen what Dak had to go through. And now Micah knows this is just how business is done in Dallas, where you'll get your money if you're a star player. Right? You're the quarterback of the Cowboys, you'll get your money. You're the star pass rusher of the Cowboys, you'll get your money. You're the star wide receiver of the Cowboys, you'll get your money. But Jerry's going to make you wait a little bit. Jerry's going to make you basically dance a little bit for that money. That's just the case. Where it's going to be, okay, we operate our organization based off of headlines. So you want your money, we'll give it to you. But we're not like any other organization where we're just going to give you that money, I don't know, in the beginning of the offseason. Like, look at last year. It would have behooved the Dallas Cowboys. We talked about this ad nauseum at this point. It would have behooved the Dallas Cowboys last year to give Dak Prescott his money, and then they could have spread it out and they could have created more cap space. Instead, they said, we're going to wait March, April, May, June, July, August, and then a little bit into September. Up week 1 is here. All right, we'll pay you. And come on, folks. What is week 1 of the NFL season? What is the opening game of the NFL season this year? It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Think about this. It's supposed to be the Eagles' night. Celebrate the Philadelphia Eagles. They just won the world championship. Raise the banner. It should be all about the Eagles on the pregame show. I could guarantee you this. I have never been more confident about something in my life. Jerry is going to wait to pay Micah Parsons until the day of the game. Maybe even wait till like 5, 6 p.m. Eastern time. He's going to wait the day of the game, the night of the game, to give Micah Parsons the contract. Because the Cowboys haven't been to a Super Bowl since 1995. The Cowboys haven't been to an NFC Championship game since 1995, right? Last time they made the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl was 1995. So, this is going to be a night where they celebrate the Eagles until Jerry says, all right, Micah, you waited. I'm giving you the new deal. And I think that Micah Parsons knows what's going on here because he just saw it play out recently with Dak Prescott, a year ago. And we've seen it even before. Remember when the clapper, Jason Garrett, finally wasn't brought back? When did they break that story? When did that news come out? Right during Wild Card Weekend, Eagles and Seahawks, if memory serves me right. That's what's going to happen here. Micah Parsons will get his $41.5 million a year. It's just going to come on the Thursday night of the opening night of the football season. That's when this is going to happen. So we look at the entirety of this J.J. Watt tweet, by the way. Because J.J. Watt, who is now, I think it's for this upcoming season, he is the second analyst on the CBS team, where it's Ian Eagle and J.J. Watt. And J.J. Watt said in response to the audio that we played a while ago about Jerry Jones talking about Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott, anytime you could publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rusher simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to take it. Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you. And that was retweeted by Micah Parsons. I just wonder if we had Micah on the show, and Micah's been on the show before, quite a few times. Here'd be my opening question to Micah. Micah, how much butter from the popcorn that you were eating was on your fingers when you retweeted that J.J. Watt thing? Because it's not as if Micah gave his opinion on the matter. And how many times do we see retweets aren't endorsements? Even though they basically are. And that was Micah Parsons, air quotes, endorsing what J.J. Watt had to say. Come on. Micah knows the game here. Just like how Dak finally learned the game too. And Jerry is the guy that stirs the sauce. He stirs what's in the cauldron. And that's how he likes to run his organization. You may not like it. It may not result into winning. But at the end of the day, there's nothing anyone could do about it. Because if Micah Parsons wants his money, this is the road he's going to have to travel. And there was even something like last year. I forget exactly where it was. But I remember reading an article about Dak Prescott. And Dak said something along the lines of dealing with the noise and the drama. You just learn how to handle and learn how to accept it. It wasn't directly a shot at Jerry Jones. But it was basically, I've seen everything now. I know what comes with the responsibility of being in this organization and being, right, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. So the conversation today, and I know I just gave you a really entertaining last 15 minutes of radio, if I may say so myself. But it's all wasted time, folks. It is. Because you know it. I know it. Jerry Jones knows it. Micah Parsons knows it. And the whole football world knows it. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether you want to just drag this out because you need something to fill content in the summer, we all know how this ends. Opening night. Takeaway from the Eagles moment. When the Eagles are about to have that banner drop, Jerry Jones is going to have that contract done with Micah Parsons, and we all know what's going to happen. It's going to be Micah Parsons, highest non-paid quarterback in the history of the league. What does this mean for the Cowboys? Let's talk Cowboys, 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 Cowboys. So the network doesn't have to talk more about what the Eagles accomplished last year. And that's the recipe of the magic of one Jerry Jones. It's going to happen, folks. I've never felt more confident in a prediction in my career that on opening night, morning of, afternoon, maybe a little bit in the early evening, that's when you'll get Adam Schefter, breaking news. Tom Pelissero, breaking news. Ian Rappaport, breaking news. The Dallas Cowboys have agreed to a contract with Micah Parsons that will give him $41 million a year, $41.5 million a year, $42 million a year. And all along, Jerry Jones was never going to let Micah Parsons, his young superstar pass rusher, leave Dallas, and now he's there for the majority of his career. Long-term extension done. That's what's going to happen. You could thank me now, because I'm going to be right. I'm not going to be wrong on this one, folks. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. When we come on back, we stay with the football. We turn our attention to the ACC, the two biggest storylines in the ACC entering this season. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. We had ACC Media Days commence today. In addition to the Big Ten, had their Media Days commence as well. Let's start with the ACC. We'll get to the Big Ten, the preeminent conference right now in all of college football after having the last two national champions in Michigan and Ohio State. We'll get to them later on. But in the ACC, there are two easy storylines here. Storyline number one, and this is in no order. I'm just going to give you one and two, the two biggest storylines in the ACC entering this season. The expectation for Clemson is to win a national championship this year. For a while, Clemson was an unbelievable operation. What Dabo Swinney was able to build and what he was able to do at Clemson was unimaginable. And he won two national championships. And consistently, for a run of 5 to 7 years, Clemson entered a season and we looked at them and we said they could win the national championship. As of late, the last 3 seasons or so, it was, all right, we know Clemson can win the ACC. But it doesn't feel like they could win a national championship. And, you know, we had that one year where Pitt did win the national championship, or the ACC championship, I should say. We did have Clemson win it last year. But even after Clemson beat SMU, did anyone think that Clemson was going to be a player for a national championship? No. Well, this year, in a season where there's not a lot of great teams in college football, you look at Clemson and you say, they probably have on paper the quarterback you could trust the most in college football, in Cade Klubnik. And they have a coach who, say what you want about Dabo Swinney, Dabo Swinney still is a coach that is a top 3 coach in college football. And sure, in 2021, you saw Pitt win the ACC, then Clemson responded in 2022, win the ACC. Florida State snagged it in 2023, and then Clemson got it back in 2024. But really, since 2021, we haven't viewed Clemson as a national championship contender. That changes now. I think Clemson is back in the good graces of the college football world, and Clemson is now highly regarded as not only a top 5 team in college football, but a team that you look at and you say, championship or bust. And when I mean championship or bust, I'm not talking about an ACC championship. That's expected. That's a given. It's now, can Clemson get back to where they were competing year in and year out, or maybe just for this season, get back to where they were 4 or 5 years ago, where it was a given that they're a national championship contender. And Clemson is on the short list of teams that I have in college football this year that anything short of a national championship this year is a bust of a season. So that's how I view Clemson, with the 1-2 punch of Cade Klubnik and then also Dabo Swinney. But then you get to the other storyline in the ACC. And it's, what the heck is the debut season for Bill Belichick at Chapel Hill going to look like? What is that going to be? Now, I don't know if you guys know this, Stu and Samter. So I'm just going to ask it, and we'll see if you guys know the answer. if you had to prognosticate, I'll use a big word right there. If you had to predict, if you had to take a guess on what the over-under is for Bill Belichick at his first season at UNC, what do you think the over-under is? Stu, if you had to get a little Vegas stew on me, what do you think the over-under is if you were one of those guys that created the lines?
I would say 7.
7. Samter, what would be your guesstimation?
I guess let's go 5.5. 6.5 or 5.5.
Well, you got to give me one.
6.5. I don't want to screw Stu, but 6.5.
How would that be screwing Stu?
Because he gets 7.
Oh.
I guess it's screwing myself. 7.5.
Yeah, I'm just asking a simple question here. I love you.
Price is Right rules, 6.5.
But all I'm asking for is one simple question here. What do you think the over-under is? So your answer is 6.5.
6.5.
Lock it in. Stu, your answer is 7?
7, lock it in.
Samter, you're not going to be happy with yourself. It's 7.5. It's 7.5. That's the over-under for Bill Belichick. So as I sit here on Bill Belichick's debut season, and it will open up Monday, September 1st, up against the Horned Frogs of TCU, who was in a national championship game 2 years ago. No, 3 years ago now. Yeah, because they got smacked. They got smothered by Georgia, which, by the way, people go, oh, it's a mistake for TCU to get into the college football playoff. They beat Michigan, folks. All right? Everyone forgets that they beat Michigan and then got smothered, waxed, embarrassed, destroyed, dominated. They looked like an inferior opponent up against Georgia. Then Michigan found a way to beat Washington in the national championship game. And last year, sorry, Stu, to bring this back up, your Notre Dame Fighting Irish found all the way. They got there all the way to the national championship game up against the Buckeyes. And it was a good start. Then it got away from them. And then they crept back into the game. And then on 3rd down and long, Will Howard to Jeremiah Smith down the right sideline. And I was very upset, if I'm just being honest, because I wanted Notre Dame to beat Ohio State. For Stu and only Stu. So anyway, you have UNC opening up the season up against TCU. Here is the rest of the UNC schedule. TCU, Charlotte, Richmond, UCF, Clemson, California, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, NC State. Now, I'm not telling you Bill Belichick's going to win all those games this upcoming season. But there's only one game that I look at and I say, hey, UNC can't win. And that's the Clemson game. Spot the lie. I'm not telling you that they're going 11-1. And, right, just as easy as I could say they could win TCU, they could lose it. But when your schedule is TCU, Charlotte, Richmond, UCF, Clemson, California, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, and NC State, what's the game that makes you shake in your boots? It's only Clemson. Now, could you imagine the national storylines that will happen? Oh, can you imagine the TMZ reporting about Jordan Hudson if Bill Belichick loses to Charlotte or Richmond? Oh, boy. That would be ugly, 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 ugly. Oh, Pablo Torre probably has that tell-all story already being written. He probably has it saved in the drafts just in case if there's a small chance that it comes to reality that Bill loses to Charlotte or Richmond. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. If we have a Bill Belichick press conference after losing to Charlotte, the 49ers of Charlotte, I played the 49ers in the NFL. I remember the heyday of the 49ers with Montana and Rice and the great Bill Walsh and obviously, eventually, Steve Young. But, this is a good 49ers team, just like how that was a great 49ers team. Oh, boy, that would be ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly if Bill loses to Charlotte or Richmond. But I look at that schedule and I say this. I think realistic, fair expectations where I would say, okay, year one for Bill Belichick is a success, 8-4. If they go 8-4, how are we sitting here and really undressing Bill Belichick and saying, oh, he did a terrible job? How could we potentially do that? Now, what are you shaking your head about, Santer? You think 8-4 is too low of a bar?
No, you said undressing Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I know I did that on purpose there. Bill and his looks and his girlfriend, they have been a big topic of conversation. But he would basically be undressing Bill Belichick there if you were shredding him going 8-4. How would you be ripping him apart there? So I think 8-4 is a fair year one expectation for the hoodie in Bill Belichick. So it leads me to ask you this. I don't think you'd find a person on the planet that would disagree with Clemson and then Bill Belichick being the two biggest storylines in the ACC. What's the third? Let's skip around the room if you were listening to yesterday's show. Stu, we'll start with you skipping around the room. What's the third biggest storyline in the ACC entering this season?
I think it is Miami and Carson Beck. Obviously, Carson Beck going into last year with Georgia was, by many accounts, a top 5 pick, a sure thing as the best or second best quarterback in the NFL draft. He had a down year. He transfers to Miami. Miami obviously has to replace Cam Ward. So interesting to see what they get from Carson Beck and if they're able to, they should be ranked going into the season if they can maintain that ranking.
Yeah, it's a big year for Mario Cristobal, right? It is. But you look at Carson Beck, I have no clue what to expect. He lost his job at Georgia. He was supposed to be the number 1 pick a year ago. He lost his girl. He's no longer dating the Cavender twins, right? I don't know which one he was dating. One of them is is engaged actually to Ferguson on the Cowboys. But he is no longer dating one of the Cavender twins. And now he's at Miami, where we don't know how his arm's going to look and no one knows what to anticipate out of him. But he's really fallen off. Now can he have that redemption season? Can he do something similar to what Jalen Hurts did at Oklahoma? Now, there was a year in between where Jalen Hurts stuck around at Alabama, obviously, and then he was needed in the SEC championship game when Tua got hurt. But can he have a Jalen Hurts type of run at Oklahoma? Can Carson Beck do that at Miami this year? Where you don't need to win the Heisman, but you restore some respectability to your name after all respectability was lost. So that's a good one. I'll give you mine, and then we'll get Samter's, because I like to save Samter for last here. Not that we saved the best for last on this show, but just because Samter usually has a list. And whenever Samter gives us one of these lists, I sometimes am a little apprehensive that he's going to take my topic and my answer to this question. So mine is, what the heck is going to happen at Florida State this year? We know their quarterback is talking a lot of smack, and Mike Norvell, he's joining us on Wednesday, I believe, tomorrow at 4:40 p.m. Eastern time. So we're always excited to get Coach Mike Norvell on the show. But 2 years ago, they were undefeated, and they were not into the college football playoff because of the fact that their quarterback got hurt. They should have been in the college football playoff, but their quarterback got hurt in Jordan Tyson. And the next thing you know, it was one of those situations. Oh, no, what was the quarterback's name? It wasn't Jordan Travis, I believe was the quarterback name. Is Jordan Tyson the Arizona State wide receiver? Yeah, that's why I got that mixed up.
That's correct.
Yeah, well, I have to ask you, Mr. Sun Devil, obviously, a big fan of that program. But they were 13-0. You got the quarterback that got hurt up against, I believe it was Miami. And then, even though they ended up winning a few more games, they didn't make the college football playoff. Then last year, they were 2-10. Like, at one point, they were a 1-9 football team. Their 2 victories last year were California and Charleston Southern. Huh? Who? Where? What? And now we know your quarterback's taking shots at Alabama. You open up the season up against the Crimson Tide. After that, you have East Texas A&M, Kent State, Virginia, Miami, Pittsburgh, Stanford, Wake Forest, Clemson, Virginia Tech, NC State, and Florida. Can Florida State with Mike Norvell, can they get back to respectability after looking like they were back 2 years ago, and then the rug was pulled out from underneath them a season ago? So that's my third biggest storyline in the ACC this year. Samter, what's yours?
Well, I got a list. I have a short list, so I'll go through them very quick. We've got Syracuse and Fran Brown, 10 wins last year. Mm-hmm. Right, that seems like a program on the rise, and Fran Brown might be the most interesting soundbite in all of college football. Yeah, outside of maybe Lane Kiffin. But
he used to call me Fran Brown. I used to have some epic conversations with Fran Brown. I knew him very well at Temple. I would get like late night phone calls from Fran Brown.
You up?
No, don't. You don't got to do it. He has a wife. He has beautiful children. It was just talking about his future in college football and potentially being a head coach one day. That was my life many years ago. I was talking to Fran Brown, as Billy Joel would say, in the middle of the night. Or is that Ringo Starr? Middle of the night? Who was it?
No, Billy Joel.
Billy
In
Joel.
the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Ringo Starr.
I don't know why I thought Ringo Starr. Because I saw Ringo Starr in the All-Star Band. My friend in college, Zach, his dad does the artwork for Ringo Starr. So there is a saxophonist, Mark Rivera, who does saxophone for Ringo and also Billy Joel. So they got us tickets to see Ringo, and they also got us tickets to Billy Joel. So I always kind of merge those songs, Ringo songs and Billy Joel songs together. And that's why I ended up going back and forth during the middle of the night. But anyway, enough of my late night phone calls with Fran Brown. That could be a new show here on the Infinity Sports Network. Maybe that'll be the 12 to 3 show coming up soon. But anyway, what else are your storylines here?
I got Jake Dickert, the new coach at Wake Forest. If you remember, he was the coach of Washington State. He had Cam Ward, which he turned into the number 1 overall pick when he transferred to Miami.
Yeah.
Then he had John Mateer, who transferred to Oklahoma and is considered a Heisman favorite. So let's see if he could do it 3 years in a row by developing a young quarterback that not a lot of people know about and maybe turns into something great. So I'm curious to see what Jake Dickert will do. Then there's SMU, the defending regular season champion, who probably would have, should have beaten Clemson, was probably the best team in that conference. To see, can they repeat? Are they a one-trick pony or are they legit? But I think for me, the third biggest story is Mike Norvell and Florida State. I mean, there's so many questions. What? Why are you laughing?
Because that's the one that I just gave.
That's the one you gave?
Yes.
I wrote it down wrong. I meant to write down Norvell as yours, so SMU is mine. Wait, I thought you had a different.
When I speak?
Yeah, you're right.
We just did the whole quarterback situation.
I wrote them all down, and I forgot to cross Norvell off when you did it.
Okay.
So mine is SMU. Can they repeat?
Do you need some Adderall?
Listen, I'm trying to learn a whole new video system here.
No. Don't give me the excuses. All I want to hear coming out of your mouth is, hey, I got it wrong. I botched it up. It was a Samter boo-boo. That's it.
It was a Samter boo-boo.
Yes. Oh, my God. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Standing by with the latest sports flash. We will get to the Bengals and the Trey Hendrickson situation next. Here he is, the Ackman, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And this report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs. Protection on the road and on the water. See how much you could save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Matthew Stafford is 37 and back on a new deal with the Rams. It'll open training camp on the side, dealing with a sore back. Tyrann Mathieu is retired after 12 seasons in the NFL with 4 teams. He was a 3-time All-Pro and won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs in 2021. There have been some great stories in baseball this year, such as the Tigers' rise to prominence, the Blue Jays' recent surge, and right now the Brewers are right there with them. Milwaukee has won 11 in a row to take over first place in the NL Central and look to extend the streak tonight in Seattle. They got 6 terrific innings from Brendan Woodruff in his 4th start back last night. He allowed no runs, just 2 hits, sparking the victory. Tonight, rookie phenom and all-star Jacob Mizorowski goes for his 5th win against Logan Gilbert. The Cubs, a game back now, continue their series against the Royals, and 45-year-old Rich Hill makes his season debut for Kansas City, his 21st season in the major leagues, his 14th different team. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
The Defensive Player of the Week is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. This week's player is Pirates pitcher Paul Skeens. In Monday's 3-0 win over the Tigers, Skeens tossed 6 shutout innings where he allowed only 3 hits and struck out 6. Skeens is the only player since 1901 to have 300 or more strikeouts with a sub-2 ERA through 44 career MLB starts. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Or maybe sometimes Samter is listening. No, I'm just teasing, having a little fun here on a Tuesday. Roddy Jones, ACC Network Analyst, is going to join us at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll do overreaction, proper reaction, talk some NFL and college football at the top of the hour, 15 minutes from now. So there was a report today by the ESPN that Trey Hendrickson is not going to be showing up to training camp and he's holding out. Now, more specifics have come out in this never-ending saga with the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson. So these are two lines from Pro Football Talk. One talks about this Adam Schefter report. The other is something else that Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk has heard. Here's the Schefter nugget first. Via Adam Schefter of ESPN, the amount of fully guaranteed money at signing has become an issue. The Bengals, as they often do with non-quarterbacks, are willing to guarantee only the first year. Other top pass rushers who signed new deals this year got 3 years, either at signing or as a practical matter. The Bengals receiver Jamar Chase got 3 years fully guaranteed as a practical matter. Receiver T. Higgins gets, as a practical matter, 1 and part of 2. So that's what's happened with the Cincinnati Bengals in many, many years. Only quarterbacks, so they give multiple guaranteed years for money. For Jamar Chase, it was different. For T. Higgins, it was slightly different. So that's topic number one that's become an issue here. The guaranteed money is not where Trey Hendrickson would like it to be at. Here is issue number two, and this is what Mike Florio points out. The guarantees won't matter if the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson can't agree on an annual average. Month ago, we've heard they offered $28 million, and that Hendrickson was angling to get Max Crosby money, which is $35.5 million a year. The Myles Garrett, $40 million annually, and TJ Watt, $41 million a year deal doesn't really matter because Hendrickson has no chance of matching them. So we look at this right now, and I got to ask a question here. Do the Bengals want to get this deal done? Do they actually want to get this deal done? Or do they want to be the cheap SOBs that they've been for the majority of the way that organization gets operated? You just paid Joe Burrow a fortune. He's worth it. You just paid Jamar Chase a fortune. He's worth it. You just paid T. Higgins a fortune. He's worth it. You have a limited window still. Your defense right now is not in a good spot, even with Trey Hendrickson. It would be in a god-awful spot without Trey Hendrickson. 2 years ago, Trey Hendrickson, 17.5 sacks. This past season, Trey Hendrickson, 17.5 sacks. Like, the Bengals, are you a bunch of dummies? Or do you just like being a bunch of losers? Stop being cheap losers. Now, right, I get it. This year, Trey Hendrickson, it's 15.8 in base salary. It's got to be more than that. I get it. He's 31 years old. I get it. He's not a spring chicken. But you can't get a deal. This has been 2 years of this jackassery. 2 years. We've been sitting here. Oh, is Trey Hendrickson going to get a deal done? And now you're entering this season where your quarterback's taken care of, both your wide receivers are taken care of, and we're still talking about contractual bull junk. I'll clean it up. I don't need to curse. But this is what this is, folks. This is bull junk. Do the Bengals ever actually want to win a Super Bowl? Do they want to capitalize on the Joe Burrow era? Because let me tell you, Joe Burrow last year led the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown, and Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks. And you couldn't make the playoffs. He sniffed the playoffs, came close to sniffing it, but you didn't make the playoffs. Because you got off to a slow start. And it had to matter. A big reason for the slow start is because there's a ton of distractions. You need everyone to be all in. And the Bengals, they got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. This is very simple. Get the deal done or trade Trey Hendrickson. It's that simple. And I'm just wondering here. You know, usually when there is conflict, I like to try to bring people together. You know, I'm a peacemaker. I like to see both sides find a way to come together. You know, if there's any problems, if there's any situations, people throwing punches at one another, I like to give you the answer to solve the conflict. That's me. I'm Zach Gelb, just a good, honest guy. that's just trying to look out for everyone, that's just trying to bring people together and say, why can't we be friends? And I'm not going to sing because I want people to actually listen to this radio show. So Trey Hendrickson and the Cincinnati Bengals, let's sit down. Sit down around the campfire and listen to Uncle Zach. And this is what Uncle Zach is going to offer. 2-year contract, $70 million, 55 guaranteed. Bengals, you in? Trey Hendrickson, you're in. Gives you $35 million a year. And also, it basically gives you more than a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half in terms of the guaranteed money. Like year one, fully guaranteed. And then I gave Trey Hendrickson a little bit more of that year two on the 2-year extension, a little bit more than half fully guaranteed. How does that deal not get done? For the Bengals, it keeps it to a 2-year deal. For Trey Hendrickson, you get 35 a year, 55 of it guaranteed. How don't we all come together on that deal and say, all right, Cincinnati, it's go time. Let's see if you can compete with Mahomes. Let's see if you can beat Josh Allen. Let's see if you can beat Lamar Jackson. And let's see if you get back to the Super Bowl. I think I would solve that in 2 seconds. I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. And I do think I'd be the perfect mediator here to get the Bengals and get Trey Hendrickson to come together and give everyone something they could smile about and be good with. It's not a 4-year deal. It's not a 3-year deal. It's a 2-year extension where $70 million you give to Trey Hendrickson. That gives him $35 a year. And it locks the Bengals in for $55 million guaranteed. This got to get done. And you know what? I don't think Trey Hendrickson plays a game this year for the Cincinnati Bengals until he gets a new deal. I used to think, okay, he'd just show up week 1. I don't think that's going to happen. He'll either be sitting at home playing for someone else, or he'll be on the field with the Bengals because the Bengals finally get this thing done. But this nonsense got to stop. It's got to stop. Like, you have an opportunity here. You have a window. And the window's been closing and closing and closing and closing and closing. But it's still open a little bit. You got to take advantage of this. You got to get this deal done with Trey Hendrickson. But it seems like the Bengals don't want to give him more than any guarantees in the first year. And even the average annual value is still criminally low. $35 million a year. 2-year deal, $70 million, 55 guaranteed. It's fair for Trey. It's fair for the Bengals. And Zach Gelb, right, can bring these two parties together. And we could all be happy in Cincinnati. I'm just trying to make everybody happy here, folks. Sometimes people view us as talk show hosts as we just try to stir the pot. We just try to poke fun at people, kick everybody while they're down. I try to uplift. I try to inspire. I try to bring people together. And Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's not your savior. Jamar Chase is not your savior. T. Higgins isn't your savior. I'm your savior. All right, Cincinnati, offer the deal. Trey Hendrickson, accept the deal. And you know what? I'll take a little 10% of it for bringing you two together. It is the Zach Gelb Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. What we will do right now is get to a little overreaction, proper reaction. We'll give you some football topics when it comes to the NFL and college football, and we do that right now.
Another football week is complete, which means it's another week to freak out about your favorite team. Which takes are truly crazy.
But sometimes a game can be so bad, it's almost good. You know what I'm saying? No.
And which are so crazy, they might be right.
He's 6'5", he's 245 pounds. He's probably a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
Zach let you know in this week's edition of Overreaction or Proper Reaction.
All right, Stu, what do we got cooking?
All right, so Ndamukong Suh officially retired from the NFL last week, but this week, Suh made a bold statement about his time in Detroit.
Detroit, in my opinion, when I first came out, it really gave me the short end of the stick. I should have been paid more than Matthew Stafford because I was the next first-round pick for them coming out in the draft, and I felt like I was going to be a cornerstone for them, but they didn't value me enough to say, hey, you're not going to be paid more than our quarterback. And I said, fine. What I'll do is I will prove you guys wrong that I, at the end of the day, deserve to be considered one of the cornerstones.
So while, of course, quarterbacks make more than anyone else on the field, Suh won Defensive Rookie of the Year and made 4 All-Pro teams in his 5 seasons with the Lions, while Stafford made just 1 Pro Bowl in 12 years in Detroit. Overreaction or proper reaction, Suh was more valuable to those Lions than Stafford.
I'm going to go overreaction here, and here's why. First off, the quarterback always makes more money than the star defensive lineman. And the Ndamukong Suh was a ferocious player on the field. He was sensational. Let me, though, just show you what happened in, I don't know, a place in LA. Like, you could say that Suh was the better player than Stafford. You can. Just like how with the Rams, I think we would all agree, Aaron Donald is a better player than Matthew Stafford. But when did the Rams win a Super Bowl? When Matthew Stafford got there. So it just shows you the value, even when you have a good quarterback, compared to an all-time great football player, which, let's be real, Aaron Donald is one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Ndamukong Suh was a phenomenal football player. He will be a Hall of Famer, but he's not going to go down as one of the greatest defensive players in the history of the game. Like, he's not a top 10 defensive player of all time. So Suh was more valuable to the Lions team than Stafford. 9.99999 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you the quarterback is more valuable than the star defensive lineman. So I'm going to go overreaction.
Jerry Jones met with the media yesterday and seemed to take a shot at both Micah and Dak.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
Afterwards, Micah retweeted a comment from J.J. Watt, which sarcastically read, quote, "Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you," end quote. Overreaction or proper reaction, Jerry's comments make it more likely that Micah will want out of Dallas.
I'm going to go overreaction there. Jerry Jones knows the game. Micah Parsons knows the game. Micah Parsons knows that probably opening night of the NFL season on that Thursday, that's when he's going to get that new deal because they're going to want to take away and steal the thunder from the Eagles, who will be celebrating a world championship. I think all this stuff is just nonsense, and ultimately Micah Parsons wants to stay in Dallas and he'll get the deal done, and that will happen. So Jerry's comments makes it more likely that Micah will want out of Dallas. I'm going overreaction.
Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were the biggest rivalry in the NFL for years, with Brady winning 9 of their 12 regular season matchups, while Peyton actually had a better postseason record against Brady at 3-2, with all those wins coming in AFC championship games. Now this week, Brady wrote in a newsletter titled "Every Champion Needs a Rival" and said the rivalry, quote, "created a sense of urgency within me to prove him wrong, and it provided the extra bit of energy and motivation necessary. Peyton Manning was a gift to my NFL career," end of quote. Overreaction or proper reaction, the Brady-Peyton rivalry was the best in all of sports this century.
If we just look at this century, baseball still Yankees, Red Sox, right? You want to throw Yankees, Astros in there with the cheating stuff? NBA, like, can I ask a question here? Who was LeBron's rival? Changed so many teams. Paul Pierce thinks it was him with the Celtics. No.
Kind of Kobe, I guess. Really was Chauncey Billups early in his career.
It's like there's no great rivalry for LeBron. You want to throw me Celtics Lakers still because they met twice this century in the NBA Finals?
Can you say Kobe Shaq?
I don't think that's the way that this this question was intended, but yeah. I'm just trying to think here.
Maybe Steph, LeBron. I don't think they met a few times, but I know
but
it's not great.
Couple in sports.
It's at least there. It's at least there.
A couple in sports we don't think about: Federer, Nadal, or Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. Any one of those three.
Michigan, Ohio State.
Yep.
Auburn always up against Alabama.
Lefty Tiger, Mickelson and Tiger.
Yeah, that's like Patriots and Jets. Is it really a rivalry? When one's just kicking the other one's ass. It's easy. Like I know the way that I'm answering this, but I think it's easily Brady and Manning. So the Brady Peyton rivalry is the best at all sports this century. That would be a proper reaction.
The NFL Players Association is in a state of transition after executive.
What do you think I'm laughing about?
The wording of the state of transition.
No. I was pulling the same thing. I wasn't listening to what you were saying.
Very good.
The YouTube chat. Psych Mamter. Greatest rivalries this century. Zion versus food.
Oh, dear.
Gelb versus ranch. Samter versus Hickey. It's a good job there by Psych Mamter. Anyway, you can continue with this. Restart the question so I can see if I would actually be laughing at what you were saying.
So the NFL Players Association is in a state of transition after Executive Director Lloyd Howe
who cares?
Resigned last week amid multiple controversies. Now his interim replacement, J.C. Treader, a favorite to take the job full-time, announced that he is stepping down from the union after backlash that he helped subvert and protect information about the owner collusion case. Overreaction or proper reaction, the NFL union is the worst in the four major sports.
So I would say probably if you look at the four major sports, hockey, baseball, football, and basketball, I kind of think basketball has the best union because the basketball players kind of run the league. NFL players don't run the league, hockey players don't run the league, and baseball players don't run the league. Now, the baseball contracts are guaranteed. So are the NBA. You know what? The NFL union is the worst in the four major sports. Well, hockey, the salaries just aren't as large as, aren't in a great spot. Yeah, the NFL's sloppy. And even though I think it was the last CBA, it was right down to the wire, and a lot of the players were frustrated here. But that's the problem. You have so many players, most players per team in any sport. And to get everyone on the same page is almost impossible. Now you have some nefarious stuff going on that's all been basically exposed to us by Pablo Torre and Mike Florio. So, yeah, I would say the NFL union is the worst in the four major sports. I would go that's a proper reaction.
Right after his scandal at BYU, quarterback Jake Retzlaff has found a new team, transferring to Tulane and rising coach John Summerall. Now, last year, Retzlaff took the Big 12 by storm, throwing for nearly 3,000 yards while adding another 400 on the ground with 26 total touchdowns. Overreaction or proper reaction, Retzlaff is better at Tulane than he was at BYU.
I'm going to say that's an overreaction. He's just not playing in a major conference. Now, Tulane has had some success, as it's now the American Conference. It's no longer the American Athletic Conference. But I think you're more in the spotlight in the Big 12, even though it is at BYU, which has produced a lot of good quarterbacks. Let's be real. BYU has produced some really good quarterbacks. So Retzlaff is better off at Tulane than he was at BYU. I am going to say that's an overreaction. Obviously, with the suspension of the 7 games of the honor code, that's why you're going to leave. But if they could have just wiped away that suspension, why wouldn't you have stayed at BYU? So I think that's an overreaction.
Jimbo Fisher won a national title at Florida State back in 2013, but he struggled at Texas A&M after signing a historic contract, leading to yet an even more historic buyout. Now the former coach has found a new gig, but not on the sidelines. Fisher will be joining the ACC network this year as an analyst. Overreaction or proper reaction, Jimbo Fisher will get another shot to coach a major Power 4 program.
A major Power 4 program? So that's not just a Power 4, like a major Power 4 program?
Yes.
Maybe he could be back in the Power 4 somewhere. Do I think a major school, when he had all those resources at A&M and couldn't do jack, they're going to take an opportunity on him? No, I do not. So when you ask me he'll get another shot to coach a major Power 4 program, I'm going to say overreaction.
Arkansas's newest receiver, Monte Harrison, is a bit older than the average player, joining the Razorbacks at 30 years old.
Oh, wow. So I could go play for Arkansas this year?
You guess you could.
I don't know if I have any eligibility left, but not a bad idea.
So after a failed career in baseball...
Big Suey, baby.
So after a failed career in baseball that saw him reach the majors but finished with just a 176 career average in just 50 games, the former four-star football recruit decided to return to the gridiron. Overreaction or proper reaction, it is unfair and dangerous to allow a 30-year-old to play against 18 and 19-year-olds.
I actually think it's more dangerous for the 30-year-old than it is for the 18 and 19-year-olds. Like, let's be real. And I understand I'm no professional athlete. But at 30 years old, if I had to go up against the youngsters that are 18 and 19, I would fear for myself more than the 18 or 19-year-olds should fear against me. So it's unfair and dangerous to allow a 30-year-old to play against 18 and 19-year-olds. Yeah, it's undangerous for the 30-year-olds. Not like, don't you think most people think it's more dangerous to the 18 or 19-year-olds?
Yeah, because of like the size and I guess the development of muscles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous for the 30-year-old, and then it's unfair for the 18 and 19-year-old just because there needs to be an age limit in college sports. That really, you're 30. What is it? This guy's going back to college at 30 years old and he's playing football, right? What the heck are we doing here?
I mean, the reality is he was a prime athlete. He was playing.
He's 30.
He was playing professional baseball. 30 is the prime for a lot of athletes.
Yes,
right.
And professional sports.
Yeah, and he was a professional athlete. He was playing in majors. He was playing baseball for the.
But he's going back to college. I'm not missing this, right? He's going back to college.
Correct. He's going back to college.
Back to school. What was he? Billy Madison, for crying out loud? What are we doing here? A 30-year-old. Is he supposed to play a lot? I have no.
I mean, he was a 4-star recruit. He was highly recruited as a college athlete. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it was a while ago, but you don't know.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I am saying that this is a proper reaction here. This is just stupid. Stupid.
All right, last one. The Big 12 currently has 16 teams, but appears open to bringing in more teams if they're the right fit. Now, Memphis has reportedly raised over $200 million in
Do you think this guy goes to a frat party when he's back in college? Is he going to be some gal's date to a sorority mixer?
Oh, that's just creepy.
30
like a 30-year-old dating a 19-year-old. Yeah.
Come on, we got Bill Belichick coaching on a college sideline dating a girl that just got her driver's permit or whatever. Or maybe her actual license. What are we doing? She may need still an adult to fly on a plane. Let's be real. How is that fun at all? You're 30 years old. You're going back to college to play football?
Didn't you see the movie Necessary Roughness?
It's a movie, right? What are we doing here? Oh, yeah. All righty. Sorry, Stu, to cut you off.
So the Big 12 currently has 16 teams, but appears open to bringing in more teams if they're the right fit. Now, Memphis has reportedly raised over $200 million in sponsorship agreements in a proposal to join the conference, but apparently school and league leadership isn't interested and are expected to decline the offer. Overreaction or proper reaction, adding Memphis would be a good thing for the Big 12.
I'm going to say that's an overreaction. The Big 12 was in a spot where they just needed to accumulate as many schools as possible. I think we have have now a stalemate here going on in college athletics, where the SEC and the Big 10 are really done adding schools. There's maybe a select few teams that would still be interested. The Big 12 has done more than just survived, and the ACC is still in a spot. I do eventually think there will be a reshuffling where we condense this into the Big 10, the SEC, and then there will be everybody else. I think that could be a future of college football, but I don't think the Big 12 needs to add Memphis right now. So adding Memphis would be good for the Big 12. I don't think it would really make much of a difference. So I'm going to say that is an overreaction. It is a Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. When we come on back, we will try this again. We will go around the room. We will skip around the room. Hopefully everyone has used a Q-tip here, and you got all the wax out of the ears, even though sometimes the Q-tip does shove more wax into the ears. I still use Q-tips, if I'm just being honest. That's how I clean my ears.
So overreaction, proper reaction, next segment is what you're saying.
We will get to the biggest storylines of the Big Ten for this upcoming season. We will do that when we return in a matter of moments.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Big Ten Media Days did start today along with the ACC. We will circle back in on the ACC coming up at the top of the hour with Roddy Jones from the ACC Network. So we're excited to talk with them. But now let's go around the room here. And we go around the room as you did have Illinois, Rutgers, Indiana, Maryland. You also had Nebraska and Ohio State. They were all up today to speak to the media members that are gathered in Las Vegas. And now we're going to do a little Big Ten storylines here. And what is the biggest storyline in the Big Ten entering this season? So I will start with you, Stu. What do you think is the biggest storyline in the Big Ten entering this year?
For me, it is, can Michigan get back on track with Jerome Moore in his second year? Obviously, replacing Harbaugh, replacing J.J. McCarthy, those two guys was very tough last year, as we saw. But you obviously get Jerome Moore's second year. They improved the quarterback room with, whether it's Bryce Underwood, who is the guy that I know a lot of people want to see because he's the freshman, Micah Keene, the transfer. So at least they have some hope at the quarterback position this year. And again, like I said, another year with Jerome Moore. And They do have some tough games. They're at Oklahoma, at Nebraska, at USC, and then, of course, home against Ohio State. So there are a few tough games, but other than those four, it's a pretty manageable Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, last year, you look, they could still, Michigan, their defense was phenomenal. I know they've lost a bunch of talent, and like you illustrated the last 2 years. And also, they could run the ball. Khalil Mullings was phenomenal last year, but the quarterback situation was as bad as I've ever seen it. They didn't have a quarterback that could complete a forward pass at times. And that's what makes it even more, it makes it crazier that they were still able to beat Ohio State, who ended up winning the national championship. Even if last year, I got tipped off, and I shared it with the listening audience, that Orji, who's now at UNLV, was not going to be the starting quarterback for Michigan. All right? And it was right when we were at Circa, for the Circus show in August. I had someone tell me that, hey, it's not going to be Orji who was the starting quarterback. And that person was right. I got to check back in on that person to see who they think is actually going to be starting come week one. You know what? I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to text this person. Let me just fire it up on my computer here. And I'm going to say, hey, hope all is well. Give 2 exclamation points there. Hey, exclamation point, hope all is well, exclamation point. Who do you think is going to be starting at QB for Michigan come week one? See if that person ends up responding. Last year, that person, who I trust a lot, they told me it was not going to be Alex Orji. That person ended up being right. So we'll see if that person, that source, is able to give me the correct information like he did a year ago.
Did you say sauce?
Sauce. Yeah, like lasagna sauce. All righty. So Stu's Michigan. Samter, do you want to go here or do you want to hear mine and then go? What do you want to do here?
I'll go here. I know what yours is. I've made sure that I'm not going to
say
do it.
Michigan, they are someone that is under a big topic of conversation for me this year.
Yes. So my guy is going to be Sharon Moore. That's what I'm
That
just
person has already got back to me.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. The sauce, the Michigan sauce, who told me last year who the starting quarterback for Michigan was going to be. I just asked that person, who do you think, all right, hey, hope all is well. Who do you think is going to be the starting QB Starting at QB for Michigan come week 1, person responded right away. Underwood. It's good. Let's not wait for all this nonsense. So that's not like credible reporting. That's not like, oh my goodness gracious, it's definitely going to happen. I'm just following. You know what actually is credible reporting? We make enough news here. Last year, I was told it was not going to be Alex Orji. And it was Davis Warren. Checked in with that same person. And that same person, he may have actually said it publicly on the show too. We had him on maybe afterwards, he or she. Maybe. But I don't want to rat that person out here. I think it's better if we just keep it kind of mysterious right now. But that person believes it's going to be Bryce Underwood. So take that for what it's worth. So there's your answers to potentially.
Was it Tim Biakapatuka?
Huh?
Former Michigan running back?
Oh. And it was not Leroy Horde, by the way.
Was it Tyrone Wheatley?
No. It was, let's see. Who else could we potentially mention here?
Tom Brady.
Hey, it was not Thomas. It was not Charles Woodson.
Drew Hansen?
It was not him.
Bob or Brian Greasy?
It was not Devin Gardner either. It was not Jabril Peppers. Okay? But, yeah, that person thinks Bryce Underwood's going to be the starting quarterback.
It's crazy that Charles Woodson thinks that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Samter.
I'm going to go with the 2 Southern California schools. Lincoln Riley has so much pressure on him to win at USC. Stinking Lincoln has so much pressure to win him at USC. He's lost a couple quarterbacks that have gone to other programs. Malachi Nelson, one of them. And now UCLA with Nico Iamaleava. I just think those 2 different programs are going to be very interesting to watch in their second year in the Big Ten and see what they do there.
So you're going USC and UCLA?
Correct.
Okay. My answer. We are. It's Penn State. Anything short of a national championship this year for the Penn State Nittany Lions is a mitigated disaster. It is championship or bust. You return your running back room. You return your quarterback. Sure, you lost Tyler Warren. Sure, you lost Abdul Carter. You have enough there. And last year, as much as I like to just make fun and poke fun of every time that James Franklin loses a big game, they didn't lose that Notre Dame game last year because of James Franklin. I'll be fair. I'll call a spade a spade. They lost that game because of the quarterback and Drew Aller. There's no excuses for James Franklin this year, and there's no excuses for the quarterback either. It is go time for Drew Aller and also for James Franklin. And if they're not the last team standing, and don't tell me it's not possible, right? Jim Harbaugh was basically donezo at Michigan. He turned it around. Ryan Day went from losing to Michigan again to then, in a month or two, winning a national championship. You had Harbaugh get over the hump. You had Ryan Day get over the hump. So now, James Franklin. This is not a great year for college football in terms of these great unbeatable opponents. Like, how many great teams do we have? It is there for the taking. You look at the Penn State schedule. Nevada, Florida International, Villanova. They got 3 bye weeks to open up the season, if you think about it. Oh, my God. Cupcake you, cupcake you, cupcake you. Then they play Oregon. Oh, finally, a good team. Then they play UCLA. Then they play Northwestern. Then they play Iowa. Then they play Ohio State. They got 2 football games until the first or the second day of November, if you think about it. So after that, you play Indiana, who's going to regress this year. You get Michigan State, Nebraska, and Rutgers. How is this team not only going to, how is this team, like, this team can't miss the college football playoff this year. And let's be real, if they just split Oregon and Ohio State, they'll probably be in the Big Ten championship game again. I look at Penn State. There's no excuses here. Not only do you got to win the Big Ten this year, you got to win the national championship. And if you don't win the Big Ten and you do what Ohio State did and you win the national championship, fine. But at the end of the day, you got to be sitting there at the podium with the trophy in your hand. Because if you don't do it now, you'll never do it. So I'll tell you, this could be a hickey year. Could be, folks. This could be a Ryan Hickey year. All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Zach coming in because I'm ready to go to the update here. But I think the biggest storyline in the Big Ten this year is going to be, can Penn State win it all? All righty, we'll come on back. We'll update some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. When we return, we'll get to a news brief. Update time first. Here's Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
On the eve of training camp, the Saints' Tyrann Mathieu has announced his retirement. He spent 12 seasons in the NFL, the last 3 in New Orleans. A 3-time All-Pro, he went to 3 Pro Bowls and won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Matthew Stafford will miss the first few days of Rams camp due to a sore back. The Brewers have put together a terrific winning streak to overtake the Cubs for first place in the NL Central. Last night in Seattle, they opened their series by winning their 11th straight, knocking off the Mariners, and now have a 1-game lead over Chicago. Brandon Woodruff went 6 scoreless innings, allowed just 2 hits. As good as he was happy to get support from an offense that broke the game open with 4 runs in the 6th.
Kirby was throwing the ball great, but we just we found an inning where we got guys on and just got some big hits, and that's what we've been doing in this win streak, and I hope to keep it going. And but yeah, it's been fun. I just want to blend in and be a part of it and just have fun.
Cubs will host the Royals again tonight. The 45-year-old Rich Hill will start for Kansas City, his 14th team in his 21st Major League season. The Blue Jays have won 11 in a row at home. 5 of those have come at the Yankees' expense, who are now 4 games behind Toronto in the AL East as they continue their 4-game series tonight at Rogers Center. I'm Rich Ackerman.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. This portion of the program is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Samter, you've worked on the afternoon shift here at the network for how many years? Just wondering, as the executive producer?
Very long time.
Around. Do you know how many years?
We moved to the afternoons with Tiki and Tierney in 2017.
Okay.
And then Maggie and Perloff took over in 2021, and then you took over in 2024.
Okay.
No, Maggie and Perloff took over in 2022. You took over in 2024.
Gotcha. So you started 2017 and you're still here, is what it is.
Started 2017 in this time slot,
Yes.
but I started the network in 2013.
Yes. So you worked with BT even before that?
Yes, I worked with BT, Tiki, and Dana when we were 6 to 9. Then we moved to 9 to noon, and then we moved 3 to 6.
So you started working with BT what year?
2014.
2014.
Yes.
And when did you stop working with BT?
2022.
Okay. So you know BT pretty damn well then?
Pretty damn well.
I've been hearing this story, by the way. And you guys have any idea about this BT story?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard rumors.
Okay, so we're all understanding of what happened. I guess BT, I know he likes to coach his son, Colton. I actually sat next to BT and his son, Colton, once at a Yankees playoff game. You want to know who I brought to the Yankees playoff game? And he was not happy.
A Mets fan.
No, I brought Ben Horowitz, who used to work here. Ben Horowitz was my producer on the weekend overnights and maybe would sporadically fill in on, for you, Samter, like maybe here and there. BT didn't recognize Ben Horowitz. And Ben, likes to drink a lot. He also likes to do those tobacco pouches a lot. Spit dip, right? And Ben goes, "Hey, BT, how you doing?" He goes, "I'm nice to meet you." And BT just didn't remember. So anyway, I like BT a lot. But BT, I guess, was managing his son, or is a base coach. First base coach is the way that I gathered from what I've heard with this story. And he's, playing in I guess it's Little League. And I guess the manager for the team that he is, that is, his manager on the team that him and his son are on, got ejected from the game. So BT then got ejected as well. Now, I heard the story that BT told. Supposedly, if you are a first base coach, like not the manager, bench coach, first base coach, third base coach, I didn't know that these Little League teams had these payrolls, for crying out loud. If you say anything to the umpire, you're ejected. So BT claims he didn't know that and he got ejected on a technicality. I would like to see a video. I would like to see if maybe there was some rage from BT, because BT he's a macho man. He is. He's a big sports guy. And I could see him maybe yelling at an umpire and taking a little bit too far. But also, I know BT. I like BT. BT's always done right by me. So if BT says he got tossed at a technicality, I guess I have to believe him. Because I know BT to be a honest man and a good coworker. And I just know that he's very passionate about Little League sports, and he could, wouldn't surprise, like if you told me anyone got ejected around here from Infinity Sports Network and also WFAN, they got ejected on a Little League game, I'd have two guesses. BT would be one of them. You want to guess who the other one would be?
Me?
No, not you.
I do have anger issues.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to be disrespectful here. Talk show hosts. I'm going. The guys that are the guys and gals that are in the Monday through Friday lineup, on the air every day. Who would your guess be, Stu?
Bill Ryder.
No, Bill's a good one. I actually think it'd be Perloff. Here's why. Perloff to me is kind of the Larry David of sports talk radio. I could see him actually getting confused, or someone getting confused for something that he did that maybe he was just yawning and the umpire thought he was talking smack and then he would get ejected. Like, that would be a curb skit.
Sitting in the front row, putting his feet out and having like the kid trip over him while they're running to first base.
Yeah, like what happened in Curb with Shaquille O'Neal and Larry David. Yeah, I could see something like that. Or Perloff is trying to get out of the way of a pop-up, and he just steamrolls this kid at first base, and someone thought that he intentionally tried to like elbow some 10-year-old punk in Little League. But yeah, BT, I guess he got ejected here. Can I just ask a question? Is there a chance BT claims that he just got tossed the technicality and he's like going an apology because everyone thought he was just like a maniac screaming and going nuts? Does anyone actually, like, even if that is true, getting ejected on a technicality, does anyone think any parent should actually be in a position to get ejected from a Little League game?
I think it depends. Like if someone like attacks your kid, like,
different.
Right? Like if someone throws at your kid's head or something.
I'm talking arguing here. Like arguing with an umpire in Little League.
You certainly shouldn't, especially for Little League. But let's also be honest, man. It's not the way that it used to be when you and I were growing up. Now, these kids, in order for them to get to the next levels of their careers, they have to start at this point. Like, it sucks, but it's like, back in the day, high school kind of mattered, but college is what mattered. Now, elementary school, even the nursery school you go to matters as far as your development, what elementary school you're going to get into.
BT's kid, like 10 or 11 probably?
It's about 10 or 11 years, 2014, 2015 when Colt was born.
I'm not saying BT maybe his heart was in the wrong place here. I'm not saying that. It's kind of rough getting ejected from a Little League game.
I think, again, it depends on your behavior. If you're like a little bit frustrated and then the ump is just like, a quick trigger kind of guy, I don't necessarily blame you. If you're one of those dudes who's up in the ump's face, screaming and yelling and threatening him, different story. Now, BT 10 years ago when I first met him, maybe, but he has chilled out so much since then.
All right,
I would be surprised if he got up in the umpire's face.
Okay, so forget BT for a second. We will let BT off the hook. At the network, yes or no? Just give me a yes or no. We'll go around the room here. Could you see Maggie Gray getting ejected from a Little League game if she was the manager?
100%.
No, I could not.
I think yes.
Yeah.
I think Maggie has a potty mouth. She could easily get ejected.
And she's fiery.
Perloff, unintentionally, I think he would get ejected because he's a Larry David of sports talk radio.
No way.
Stu.
Yes.
Okay. Bill Ryder. Could we?
Yes.
I think that's a universal yes. We could all see Bill getting ejected. It would be like some stupid Little League soccer game. It wouldn't even be baseball, right? Baseball, soccer?
Yeah, but soccer matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He'd be getting a red card on the pitch, right?
He would.
Look at that.
Definitely.
Look at that terminology. Rich Eisen. Can we see Rich Eisen getting ejected? I cannot.
He seems very pleasant and mild-mannered.
Yeah, we've hardly known him, let's be real.
I would say no.
Could you see myself getting ejected from a Little League game?
No.
100%.
Really?
Wow. Oh, yeah.
First off, if you think I'm managing Little League, that ain't happening.
See, but I can see you being one of those parents in the bleachers who gets pissed off about something and just completely oversteps the line.
See, I've been an umpire before. I umpired when I was in high school.
Yeah, but you don't have a dog in the game other than the paycheck that you're getting.
I've dealt with those wacko parents. I've dealt with the PTs of the world. That was a joke. It was a joke. Can you see JR getting ejected?
I don't think so. He seems so mild-mannered.
No chance.
No chance as well. Bart Winkler.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Pat Boyle. Oh,
Yes.
yes. All right.
Yeah, but see, no. Pat Boyle, yes, but only because he's doing it as a bit. Pat Boyle isn't like an angry dude. I don't see him getting like angry. He was like a college pitcher. He's an athlete. I don't see him being that dude.
He has a lot of built-up frustration, Pat Boyle.
Yeah, but I see Boyle being one of those guys who's just like trying to be funny and like oversteps.
Let's go to other characters. Just because I see him. No, I wasn't even going to Shep. I wasn't even mentioning Shep. I wasn't. Shep is a coach, though. You know, he's I think he coaches like JV basketball or something.
Yeah, he
like
coached
that.
Carmelo Anthony's kid.
Yeah.
That's why he can coach the Lakers.
I could see. I don't think Shep would get ejected actually from a.
I agree. I don't think he would.
You think he would, Samter?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think he would whisper some insult under his breath. The umpire would hear him and kick him out.
I don't think so. I don't think Shep would get ejected. Manny Rodriguez is in the YouTube chat.
Oh yeah,
easily. Manny's one of the biggest sports sickos I know. It's actually like I see him on social media, and I'm embarrassed for Manny. You know, he's got to calm down a little bit on social media.
He would get kicked out if he didn't fall asleep during the game.
Oh, that's a good point. Anybody? Gresh? I could see Gresh.
Oh, yeah. Gresh is fired.
I would show up, play the Zach is back, all right music, and Gresh would be crying like a big baby.
Yeah, if one of the kids came out to NSYNC, he would just lose his mind.
Anyone else that you could see getting ejected here?
Hickey?
Too nice. Hickey doesn't have the cojones to get ejected from a game.
Ouch.
That's just true. He's too nice. He's too pleasant. He's too polite.
This guy right here.
Stu?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he give too many kind words?
See, Stu comes off as mild-mannered. You followed his Twitter. Stu is an angry, mean dude on social media. Oh, yeah. Some of the stuff that comes out of his tweets.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. He's a mean tweeter.
What about Bogish?
Nah.
No.
Bogish is like the sweetest guy ever.
Yeah. How about Ack?
Nah.
I think Ack could. You know why? Do they do pitch clocks now in Little League?
Maybe.
Ack would probably be late. You know, have his team late. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, he'd be like, Chief, what are we doing here?
He is a stickler for the rules. So I feel like if somebody broke like some egregious, like, part 3.1-A, section 4, he'd get upset about it.
Marco.
Yeah. No. Marco's a man of respect and accountability.
Carlos Ortiz might kill somebody.
I wouldn't say he might kill somebody, but Carlos could definitely get ejected.
He's claimed that he's killed somebody before. On the air.
Why do we have to go? What? What are you talking? He was in the military.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do we have to bring that? It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Carlos.
You got to bring up his past and all the things that he did protecting our country. Why do we have to do that?
He's brought it up. This is no secret.
But like you make him out like he's OJ when you say, "Oh, he just killed someone."
How do we know he's not? What do you know about Carlos Ortiz's personal life?
I'm just saying that was like not the right. Oh, he claimed to kill someone.
Have you seen him wear black isotonic gloves before? If the glove fits, you must acquit.
And Samter probably had a free Carlos Ortiz shirt.
I still have it hanging up in my room.
You still have that free OJ shirt?
No. The OJ shirt had so many holes in it. By the time it was done, I was
going to say, we might eject you from the show by the end of the day.
That was 1995. That was 15-year-old Samter.
Oh, my God.
Or 94.
I was a year old in 95. A little baby.
And here I am running around with OJ not guilty shirts.
I was still making doo-doo in my underwear, if we were being honest right there.
Not much has changed.
A lot has changed. I'm not Marash. I actually know how to go to the bathroom. All righty, real quickly, we'll get to a news brief later. Give me an underrated storyline. Maybe someone, whether it's a team, a player, or a coach that's getting slept on entering the Big Ten football season, only the Big Ten. Stu?
I will go with Indiana and Kirk Cignetti. I know they had a great year last year. They probably overachieved a little bit, but they made the playoffs, had a great year. Obviously, he's still there. They still kind of dipped into the portal. They got the Cal quarterback, Mendoza. So, I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs this year, but I do think people are kind of, sleeping on them going into the season. They're at least a contender for a playoff spot.
Samter, what do you got cooking here?
It feels like we've talked a lot about the Big Ten, and we haven't talked about the team that was the number one team in the country all year long, Oregon. Right? We talk about Penn State and what they're bringing back, Ohio State, the champions, what Michigan's going to do, Indiana, what they did. All these teams we're talking about, we're not talking about the Oregon Ducks and Dan Lanning. I mean, it feels like they're just kind of being disrespected and not paid attention to.
Well, you know what it is? I don't think it's being they're disrespected, but I think they're in a spot. It's kind of like when you had Giannis or you had Nikola Jokic where they would win an MVP and have all this regular season success. And then it was, okay, can you get the job done in the postseason? And that's what it is. Like, we know Oregon now can win the Big Ten. They did so in their first year. Now can you go win a national championship? So I'm not saying their regular season is irrelevant, because it's not. It's always relevant in college football. But it's okay, even if you do have a great regular season, then can you have that translate to postseason success? I'm going Nebraska, and I'm going Dylan Raiola. You see all these top 10 quarterback lists. I don't see Dylan Raiola on it. Dylan Raiola started as a true freshman, and he wasn't great, but he was good. He's expected to have a big-time season this upcoming year at Nebraska, and I feel like no one's talking about him. I think Nebraska could win 8 or 9 games this year. You look at their schedule: Cincinnati, Akron, Houston Christian, Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, UCLA, Penn State, Iowa. I think they're going to win 8 or 9 games, and Dylan Raiola individually is going to have a really, really, really good season for Go Big Red with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So I will take Dylan Raiola as someone that I think is getting slept on. All these other quarterbacks, you see them in the top 10, top 15. Oh, expect this guy to be great. Expect this guy to be good. Like early on in the season last year, people were raving about Dylan Raiola. And Nebraska got back to a bowl game last year. They won their bowl game. I think he's going to take a big jump, and he's going to have a big year, too, for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. All righty, we'll take a break. We'll do a little college football fix next. Roddy Jones is going to join us from the ACC Network. We will preview the ACC as Media Days in the ACC right here.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We miss college football.
Genty, his first touch. And typical Ashton Genty. Look at him go! You can't bring him down! Is he? Yes, he will!
We can't wait for the 2025 season.
Howard with third and 11. He'll throw it. He's going for it. Jeremiah Smith one-on-one. Game, set, match. Whenever you needed it, you got it. Will Howard to Jeremiah Smith. Biggest play of the game.
And we're counting down the days to kickoff.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
I said no.
Are we there yet?
What's wrong with your ear?
Here is your college football fix, only on the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, ACC Media Days are underway, so let's preview the ACC. We do so with one of our favorites from the ACC Network, is the former Georgia Tech running back, and that, of course, is Roddy Jones, kind enough to join us right now. Roddy, appreciate the time as always. How you been?
Yeah, Zach, I'm good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Alrighty, so let me start you off with Clemson. You know, the last few years, I just looked at Clemson, and I know that they've had Florida State win the ACC. You also had Pitt win the ACC, and then Clemson has done so as well. But their standard has fallen where I used to expect them to compete for a national championship in the last 3 to 4 years. It's just win the ACC, and then that was pretty much it for their season. I have high expectations for Clemson this year. I'm a big believer once again in Dabo Swinney. I think Cade Klubnik is a really good quarterback. I view them, Roddy, as a team where it's national championship or bust. What's your view of the Tigers?
Yeah, I think national championship or bust is a little unfair for any team in this current era of college football. I mean, you're talking about having to win at least the first playoff game, the quarterfinal, the semifinal, and then the national championship game. It's just a lot to ask for any team, especially when you get to the semifinal and you're playing coin flip games essentially, unless you're Ohio State, just rolling people. I think the expectation though should be this team should win the ACC. This team should get to the college football playoff, probably with a bye, and it should win a game. So I think semifinal is certainly a reasonable expectation for Clemson. Once you get to the semifinal, like, you're going to play a great team. You're going to have things go your way. But I think this is a Clemson team that's as good a team from that school as we've seen since probably 2019, Trevor Lawrence and that crew. Like, you've got the quarterback in Cade Klubnik. You've got incredible receivers with Bryant Wesco and Antonio Williams and TJ Moore, and they bring in a transfer in Tristan Smith. They get Tyler Brown back, who was their leading receiver a couple of years ago before getting hurt last year. You've got a crew on defense that features Peter Woods, defensive tackle that many think should be in the conversation to be the number one defensive tackle taken in next year's NFL draft. TJ Parker, who is, garnering the odds to be the number one overall pick as the defensive end, could be the first defensive end off of the board in next year's NFL draft. You've got a linebacker room that I think is really underrated in 2 NFL corners. This is a Clemson team where the expectation should be sky high. Dabo Swinney has done a great job of just constantly evaluating this program, and it doesn't happen as quickly as some people would like, which is frustrating because, when we are in charge of organizations, or not we, I've never been in charge of an organization, but when you're in charge of a family, when you're in charge of anything, taking a measured approach to how you change and how you develop is reasonable. And I think that we got impatient with Dabo Swinney at a time when the landscape of college football changed in a way that Clemson wasn't equipped to deal with, but it was a larger switch for Clemson, I think, than a lot of other schools because of the way the program is run, the culture, the way they recruit and develop, and the way that Dabo Swinney wants to reward the people that are loyal to him and grow up in his system. But he has made those changes. They took 3 transfers, including Will Helt from Purdue, who should be a really good addition to that defensive line. They changed the defensive coordinator after promoting internally with Wes Goodwin coming in. They fired him in the offseason and bring in Tom Allen, who's going to be phenomenal as the defensive coordinator. Was great last year at Penn State. They brought in Garrett Riley a few years ago. They whiffed on DJ Uiagalelei, but developed Cade Klubnik. So I really think this Clemson team is in the program is just in a really healthy place. And I do think the expectations for them should be to be a national contender.
Roddy Jones here with us. When we get to UNC, I think, right, the 2 biggest stories in this conference as we get set to embark on the ACC, it's Clemson and their quest to win another national championship, and then it's what the hell is Bill Belichick going to look like year 1 at Chapel Hill. I was talking about it earlier. I think the line for success for me, if they go 8-4, I think people will look at UNC and say that's a heck of a job for Bill Belichick in year number 1. What are your expectations for the Tar Heels?
It's a great question. I don't really know what the expectations should be because of the team, but you look at the schedule, and I think the expectation should be 8-4 or better. This is a team who, from a schedule standpoint, they miss a large chunk of the top portion of the league. They do play Clemson, but outside of that, they don't play Miami. They don't play Louisville. They don't play Georgia Tech. They don't play most of the better teams in the league. Now, they do get an NC State who could be a really good team. They do get a Duke who could be a really good team and probably should be. I mean, Duke won 9 games last year, so they should be good as well. But in terms of games that you look on paper and you're like, yeah, North Carolina's overmatched, there's not a whole lot of those. So there's really only one. And so I do think the expectation should be to be not only in a bowl game, but solidly in a bowl game, 7, 8, 9 wins. And then in terms of what could happen past that, I think you look at a ceiling, and the ceiling is probably 10. Now, I don't know if they reach it, Zach, because I don't know what to make of this roster. I really don't. Now, they bring in a ton of guys that played on the offensive line, but how does that gel together? What are they going to look like offensively? Steve Belichick, his son, did a good job with the Washington's defense last year. Do they have the pieces to do that at UNC? Just so many questions that won't be answered until they kick it off on Labor Day night against TCU. And look, TCU's a team with more answers, and they got Josh Hoover at quarterback, who's a really good player, was the second leading passer in the Big 12 last year. So if there's holes on that defense, Josh Hoover's going to find them. So it may not go great for them on Labor Day night, but you would imagine the coaching acumen of that staff, not just Bill Belichick, but that staff with Freddie Kitchens as the offensive coordinator, like that team should develop and should get better and should get coached up. And so I do think those are reasonable expectations to be like, hey, look, especially with that schedule, 8 wins should be about the floor.
Do you think that Bill Belichick, this is his last stop in his illustrious coaching career? Do you think this, however it goes at UNC, that's it?
No, I think if I'm being completely honest, I don't think this is his last. I don't think he wants it to be his last stop. Now, whether the NFL, because I think that's what he would leave for, whether the NFL dictates that it's his last stop, and I don't know, I can't predict, but I think if he had it his way, he would get back to the NFL and he would chase the all-time wins record.
Roddy Jones here with us. All right, how about SMU? Last year, an unbelievable story, really fun watch. What do you make of the Mustangs going into this season?
They're going to be good again on offense. I'll tell you that. Kevin Jennings is one of the stars of the league at quarterback, and his performance against Penn State in the first half aside, like, this is a guy that played really well throughout most of the year. The Duke game, he had a little bit of a lull of a game. In the beginning of the ACC championship game, didn't play great, but was phenomenal in the last 3 quarters of that game. So Kevin Jennings is one of the stars of the league. They've got a weapon back in RJ Maryland, who got hurt last year. At the tight end position, sort of a flex tight end that could be a matchup problem for teams, is the way they move him around. And then the offensive line will be really good again. So I'm excited about SMU. They've got some questions defensively, and we focus so much on the offense because the offense is always good for SMU. The thing is, when they have done their best work recently, both 2 years ago when they won the American and last year where they went to the ACC championship game, they have played championship level defense. Statistically, SMU had the best defense in the ACC last year. They are going to have to recreate that despite losing a lot on the defensive front and at linebacker, but they've got really good safeties. They've really improved the corner position. So I think the back part of that defense, the defensive backfield, could be a lot better this year, which can help cover up for some of the step back that you're going to take on that defensive line. But I think SMU will be really good. The schedule's a lot tougher, though. They play Clemson and Miami in the regular season. They get Louisville as well. So the win total may not be quite what it was last year. The non-conference, they play TCU, they play Baylor, 2 teams that are expected to compete in the Big 12. So, this could be an SMU team that's 8-4, 9-3, and be just as good as they were last year. Just the schedule, is a little bit tougher. So I'm excited about SMU. I think long-term, if you're going to buy stock, you're buying it in SMU. This year, win total wise, I think you're probably saying they're going to take a step back just because there's really nowhere to go but up. There's really not a lot of room to go up from 11-1 last year in the regular season. But ultimately, you look at this SMU team, and I think they should be very good again.
Roddy Jones here with us for a few more moments. Another team that had an unbelievable season last year, and we're just trying to figure out what they're going to be this year. I've known Fran Brown for a long time, being someone that graduated for Temple and covered that football team, and I loved his personality, and it's really cool to see what he did last year at Syracuse. But what do you think your number 2 has in store for the Orange?
Yeah, this is a team that I think long-term you're definitely buying in Fran Brown, and you're buying into the Syracuse program. I think this year is going to be a little bit of a struggle for them. The schedule flips on them, so they get a bunch of the really talented teams in the ACC, including Clemson and Miami. So the schedule's a lot tougher. You look, they open with Tennessee as well. So those are going to be challenging games for a team that has a lot of questions to answer. They got to figure out the quarterback position. Is it going to be Steve Angeli? Is it going to be Ricky Collins? They got to replace their running back, receivers, their leading receiver, their leading tight end. So there's just a lot of holes that they're going to have to fill with a tougher schedule, with quarterback questions, two guys that are unproven at this level. So I do think it's going to be a step back year for Syracuse. I think in the long term, they'll get that roster to a point where they can be pretty consistently an 8 to 10 win team. That may take a couple more years, but I think in the short term this year, like if Syracuse makes a bowl game, it's a pretty good coaching job. And if they're at 7 or 8 wins, it's a hell of a coaching job by a guy who I really like in Fran Brown. I think long term, Syracuse has found the right guy.
Also, I want to get your thoughts here on Carson Beck. Obviously everyone remembers Jalen Hurts when he was at Alabama, then got benched at halftime of the national championship game. He did stick around for another year before going to Oklahoma. Can Carson Beck kind of do what Jalen Hurts kind of did at Oklahoma and have that redemption story when almost everyone was writing him off and counting him out?
Yeah, I think health is going to be a big question. Like, he's still getting back to a regular throwing program with that elbow injury that he suffered. He had surgery on in the offseason, throwing that Hail Mary during the second half or at the end of the first half of the conference championship game against Alabama. Against Texas. I think that that's going to be a big question. He talked to him today. He's very confident. He likes where he's at. He thinks he's on track to be just fine. But I think the thing about Carson Beck that struck me today, and I didn't talk to him on camera at all, this was purely off camera, I think he's comfortable. And I'm not sure how comfortable he was being the quarterback of the University of Georgia because of, sometimes personality and program situation just don't fit. He is a guy that has been very public about what kind of car he likes to drive. He drives a Lamborghini or drove a Lamborghini. I don't know if he's still driving it, but he drives nice cars. He wears nice jewelry. He, obviously was dating a social media influencer and one of the Cavenders. If you do that in Athens, Georgia, like the spotlight is on you constantly. You're living in a fishbowl. You do that in Miami, and nobody cares.
One of our own.
Everybody's driving a Lamborghini. Everybody's dating an influencer. So I think he is comfortable in his anonymity. As flashy as these college athletes get to live now, you can do that and be anonymous in Miami. So I think he is comfortable in that. He's really comfortable in the offense with Shannon Dawson as the offensive coordinator. And that offensive line is going to be really good. The questions are at receiver. But Miami is going to be good this year, and I think Carson Beck will really show he is a good player. And people wrote him off last year because he did have some struggles, too many interceptions at times. He didn't get a lot of help from his receivers. But Carson Beck's a really good player. The floor there is really, really high, and the ceiling is through the roof for a guy with that level of talent.
Let me get your thoughts on Florida State. We know the quarterback already said some big things with their Week 1 matchup up against the Alabama Crimson Tide 2 years ago. Florida State went undefeated in the regular season and also won the ACC that had the unfortunate stubbing out of the college football playoff because of the quarterback injury. Last year was a disaster. They only won 2 games. Does Mike Norvell have a big bounce back season, or are Florida State fans at the end of the year saying, what do we have here with this football program?
If it's the latter, it's not good for Florida State, Mike Norvell, or the league. So I am more bullish on Florida State certainly than I was coming into last year. Florida State came in ranked in the top 10 last year, and I was not bullish on them at all. There were so many questions because they brought in a bunch of transfers that had hype, but not much production. This year, most of the guys that they're going to count on had some level of production to back it up. Thomas Castellanos, we've seen him play, and whether you like or don't like his game, he's played in the ACC, and he's played a decent amount of ball in the ACC. So there's things to work with there. Deuce Robinson produced last year as a true freshman at USC. Squirrel White, while he had a down year last year and struggled with drops at times, 2 years ago was phenomenal for Tennessee. And so can you have him regain that form? Gavin Blackwell at receiver has been productive at UNC as sort of an auxiliary piece. And then you look at the defensive side of the football, and again, they bring in a couple of guys that have been productive, albeit at smaller schools, but they've been productive. Whereas last year they brought in guys with like star rankings out of high school school, but hadn't produced at a Georgia or at Alabama, at some of these other places. So I do feel better about them. The schedule sets up pretty well for them. It doesn't seem to be super daunting, although in the ACC there's always surprises. So I think Florida State should bounce back. The question is, what does that look like? I mean, there's 4 games on the schedule walking in where on paper Florida State is not better than the other team. You look at the Alabama game to start, Clemson, Miami, and then Florida at the end of the year. So I tend to think the ceiling's probably like 8-4. But I think the floor shouldn't be lower than 7-5. Because if they're 6-6, I think they're looking around asking questions.
How about your guy, Haynes King? I had him on a few weeks ago. The dude's a warrior. He's maybe one of the toughest players in college football. Georgia Tech, your program moving in the right direction.
They are. I love the way Brett Key has really put his stamp on this program and is a running football team that's going to be physical on both lines of scrimmage. And so I'm really excited about the Jackets this year. I keep talking schedule, but schedule for Georgia Tech seems to set up pretty well. They get Georgia and Clemson every other game. You look at and you're like, yeah, Georgia Tech's got a chance to win that game.
You don't think my Temple Owls are going to beat Georgia Tech?
I mean, look, Zach, I certainly respect the Temple Owls, but if Georgia Tech's worried about Temple, we got bigger fish to fry. Like we got bigger problems. But I do love what Temple is trying to get going there. So I think that this Georgia Tech team, Haynes King returning at quarterback, Jamal Haynes returning at running back, Eric Rivers coming over from FIU, explosive receiver, that offensive line that is slowly developed over the course of years, led by Keelan Rutledge, should be really good. Kyle Eifert on the defense, and the neck roll and the face paint and the toughness that he has. I just think this is a tough, bloody-your-nose football team that's going to have some explosiveness with Malik Rutherford and the aforementioned Eric Rivers. And then Blake Gideon comes in on the defensive side, coming over from Texas as the defensive coordinator. I cannot wait to see how he puts his stamp on this Georgia Tech team, because if they can create more pressure on the quarterback, then I think this defense takes the next step. So I'm really excited. The ceiling for Georgia Tech this year, who knows if they reach it, but I think it's 10-2. And if you're 10-2,
wow, you
are in the college football playoff conversation. And if past trends hold, 10 wins get you in the college football playoff. My thing is to all these SEC teams that are saying, hey, look at strength of schedule, look at the win 10 and you are in. That's the way that I look at it, because the way that the rankings have played out since they started the college football playoff rankings, if you go back and sort of reverse engineer what a 12-team playoff would look like, more often than not, and drastically more often than not, a 10-win team is in the college football playoff almost no matter what, because by the end of the year, there's not a ton of them sitting around there. So I think that is a ceiling for Georgia Tech. I think realistically, you're looking at a team that should be 8-4 and competing towards the top of the league, maybe not with Miami, Clemson, but I think they should be, or SMU, but I think they should be kind of right after that tier.
Yeah, just don't lose to my Owls like you guys did in 2019 when you guys lost 24-2.
Hey, look,
just saying.
I was about to say, man, like you didn't have to bring up the loss because it's happened in recent memory. It still hurts my heart. There was a loss to Northern Illinois in there as well. Which
Roddy, can I be honest with you? I knew that they beat Georgia Tech, but I'm looking on. I'm like, what year was that? And the fact that I had to scroll all the way back to 2019, man, that's a long time ago now.
It wasn't. But yes, it feels like just yesterday. The burn still burns.
All right, last thing I'll ask you. We know Clemson's the best team on paper. Who's the second best team in the ACC? And then give me a team that you think people are sleeping on in the ACC entering this season.
Miami's the second best team. And then I think SMU is really close behind them. In terms of a sleeper team, it depends on the definition. Like a team that could contend for the top of the league, Louisville should be really good, especially offensively. Defensively, there's some questions, but Louisville should be really good offensively. And I think that Louisville offense could be good enough if Miller Moss gets back to the form that we saw a couple years ago in the bowl game. The offense could be good enough to carry them through some defensive struggles early on. In terms of like real sleeper that nobody's talking about, they're not going to make noise at the top of the league. But in terms of improvement, I'll give you two. I think you can look at Pitt. Pitt started 7-0 last year, lost their last 6 games. I think this is a Pitt team that could be a lot better than it was a year ago, where they kind of fell off a cliff because of injuries at quarterback and depth issues down the stretch. But I think Virginia will be a lot better this year. Nobody's counting on them or nobody's counting on them to make noise in the conference. And I'm not saying they're going to contend at the top of the league, but I think you're going to look up at the end of the year and Virginia could be a 7. 8's probably a little rich, but could be a 7-win team. We'll look up and say, hey, look, Tony Elliott did a really good job because they have been building that thing for a number of years. They've got a quarterback in Chandler Morris who threw for over 3,000 yards last year at North Texas, has Power 5 experience. So I think those three teams, people aren't talking about, and sort of at different tiers of the ACC will outkick what people are expecting of them.
He is Roddy Jones. Does a great job for the ACC Network. Roddy, appreciate the time as always. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Roddy Jones from ACC Media Days, as that is right here happening, kicking off today. He also had the Big Ten as well, so good to connect with Roddy. We will take a timeout. We'll come on back. We'll update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We will go to a news brief next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Not only did you have Big Ten media days underway today, you also had the ACC. And Rhett Lashley, the head football coach at SMU, talks a little bit about the ACC. The SEC, excuse me. Listen up.
It really is every week. In the ACC, you can't have an off week or you're going to get leave. It doesn't matter if you're playing at Clemson. And it doesn't matter if you're playing whoever that last place team is at home. If you have an off week, if you play like we did in the playoff game, you're probably going to lose. And so it's just a week in, week out. That's the league you want to be in. That's where you want to be. I mean, you look at our league, we had like 4 10-win teams, 2 playoff teams, a handful of 9-win teams, 13 bowl teams. I mean, there's just not a lot of easy wins on the schedule. And there's other leagues that claim depth, but like the SEC's had the same 6 schools win the championship since 1964. The same 6. Not a single one has been different since 1964. It's top heavy to me. That's not depth.
Guys, hey, Rhett, let's do a follow-up. Coach, appreciate the season that much. Tell me the SEC calls you tomorrow for a job, you wouldn't take it? And then also, you're telling me if the SEC came to SMU, your AD tomorrow and said, hey, we want you in the SEC, you would stay put in the ACC? Like, what are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing? Saying the ACC from top to bottom is better than the SEC? Huh? Especially last year when Oklahoma was terrible in the SEC and they beat Alabama, right? When Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Like, what are we doing? I understand, like, what is Rhett Lashley going to say? But to go out of your way to basically hype up the ACC as the conference that everyone wants to be in, and it's not the SEC or the Big Ten, that's a bunch of baloney. Let's go to Carson Beck and why he ended up selecting going to Miami.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, obviously, was the offensive fit. As a quarterback, the OC, the scheme, the talent and guys that you're going to have around you is huge to the success and ultimately the future, of a quarterback, but of me, right? And this is my future, and I think that this decision is one of the better decisions I've made, and just trying to develop, those relationships and that camaraderie, it's just reinforced my decision in a positive way.
Why did you choose Miami? It's because Georgia didn't want you anymore. There was other schools, but did the money have any factor into it? Like, hey, Roddy Jones just said that he believes Miami is the second best team in the ACC. Obviously, Miami's in a good spot. But Carson, money had to play a big factor in that. And that Georgia didn't want you anymore. So, Santa, I have not listened to this. This is via Well-Off Media. So, they were interviewing Coach Prime.
So this is
in an ice bath?
This is actually Deion Sanders Jr.'s podcast or podcast channel.
This is not the Kevin Hart podcast where they're sitting in cold tubs?
It's similar. So basically, Deion, Coach Prime, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, be respectful.
Yeah.
Non-believer.
He was in a backyard. There was an ice bath, and he was just getting into the ice bath. But in the process of doing it, you'll hear he talks a little bit about his health.
All right, let's listen up to Coach Prime.
You know I'm still going through something. I ain't all the way recovered.
I'm sure you ain't scared. I did this for a living. Get my body back right. Gonna go crazy for about 45 seconds. That hurt. Ooh, that's cold.
So he says, I'm going through something. I'm still not fully right.
Okay. Now, hold on. I got to turn up my headsets here. Trying to make it as loud as possible. All right, play that audio for me one more time because it was tough to hear.
You know I'm still going through something. I ain't all the way recovered.
I'm sure you ain't scared. I did this for a living. Get my body back right. Gonna go crazy for about 45 seconds. That hurt. Ooh, that's cold.
What is... They should have Coach Prime coach from a cold tub. Imagine running back down the right side. Ooh, What did he say, though, midway through? He says, my something, and I can't hear it. Play that one more time and listen up, and I'll say right there when it happens. Go ahead.
You know I'm still going through something. I ain't all the way recovered.
I'm sure you ain't scared. I did this for a living.
Right there.
Get my body back right.
I did this for a living.
I did this for a living.
Oh, I did this for a living. Gotcha. I thought I heard something else. I'll just leave it at that. I'll tell you off the air. That is not what I thought I heard. But then once you said it, okay, there it goes. Let's go to Tyreek Hill. He admits he needs to put in more effort.
As a leader of this team and also as a leader of this community, I just need to be better in that sense. And then just know, like there are like a ton of like little kids that like look up to me as a player, as a role model. So I just got to remind myself of that. You know what I'm saying? And then just take hold of that and then own it. So that's why this year, man, I've been this whole entire offseason, I've been busting my tail. Me and my dad, I told my dad, I said, I want to see what it looks like whenever I focus just on football, and I just focus on myself and family. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I really haven't been given the best version of me, of Tyreek, my whole entire career. You know what I'm saying? I've always been trying to be here, be there, but me being able to like slow down a little bit, train, and bust my tail for myself, and then also for this community and this team, I feel like it'll be worth it. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to see what that version of myself looks like.
Tyreek should omit a few words from his vocabulary, referring to himself as a leader and a role model. If you were a child looking up to Tyreek Hill, stop. If you need any explanation why, there's a thing called the internet. And I understand he was a captain last year, but what he said at the end of the season, he should never be a captain again. So I guess he's taking some accountability, which is good, but I still think it's inevitable that he is going to explode at some point this season, and what you saw at the end of the season is going to pick back up somewhere during the Dolphins' year in 2025. Let's go to Duke Tobin on the Shamar Stewart holdout.
I don't blame Shamar. He's listening to the advice that he's paying for. I don't understand the advice. I don't agree with it. I'm not the one paying for it. But that's where it is. If I thought we were treating him unfairly, it would be a different story. But we're treating him fairly with all the rest of the draft picks in this year's draft.
It's just, they may be right on this. I don't know who's in the right or wrong, but when you have an organization that has had so many contract issues, and hey, it's a rookie, there really shouldn't be any issues, but there are issues here. But when we just went through all this nonsense with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and now with Trey Hendrickson, it's like, all right, here's another one. Another domino is falling of incompetence with the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's go to Mike Vrabel on Stephon Diggs being cleared to practice.
I know that everybody heals differently, especially from that type of injury. But I would say that I think it's just a testament to how hard he worked. Appreciate their efforts to get back out there and get ready, and then we'll continue to monitor as we work through training camp.
Do you still have him on any sort of like pitch count or anything, or is he full go?
Well, when he practices, when he took the rep, it was full go.
All right, that's good to me. Patriots need Stephon Diggs this year. Drake May needs a good wide receiver. I don't think Stephon Diggs is great anymore, but I still think he could be good, and that's important in the development of Drake May compared to the guys that they had out at wide receiver last year. Let's go back to Mike Vrabel. He roasts Ben Volin for repeating a question. I haven't heard this. Let's listen up.
I mean, whether you were in a coma when I answered Tom's question or typing on your phone or tweeting, I don't know, but I spent 5 minutes answering that question. And I can go back through it, but I'd rather not. So I'll be able to answer that question again, hopefully only once in a few days.
Samter, I've never seen you and Ben Volen in the same room before.
You know, it's really funny. Mike Vrabel actually called out Ben Volen for not paying attention in a press conference. It's really funny. It's very similar to what happened with you and me.
I've never seen myself and Mike Vrabel in the same room before, but here's the difference. I would not cut off my Pisha deal to win a Super Bowl, like how Mike Vrabel said he once would. So
I'm calling his bluff.
There's the one difference between Mike Vrabel and yours truly. Let's go compared to many other things, but let's go to Mike Borgonzi with the Tennessee Titans. He was thrown off by a reporter's question. Here's the new general manager in Tennessee.
Simple question. The team you put on the field tomorrow, can that team win the Super Bowl?
Listen, that's always the goal every year. Yeah. We also realize we have a lot of work to do on this roster.
One more time, please.
Simple question. The team you put on the field tomorrow, can that team win the Super Bowl?
Listen, that's always the goal every year. Yeah. We also realize we have a lot of work to do on this roster.
I was like a referee there, counting. That would be a 5-second violation until we got an answer. I would like to know who the reporter is. Is anyone who's even talking about Tennessee? Forget being a Super Bowl. Who's talking about them being a playoff team? So the new GM, he can't sit there and be like, no, yeah, the goal's not a Super Bowl. But does anyone actually expect Tennessee, forget Super Bowl, even make the playoffs? Even finish above 500? No. And then finally, Phillip Rivers. I guess he officially announced his retirement. He signed with the Chargers, and he is now officially retired as a member of the San Diego Chargers from the NFL.
I'm Phillip Rivers, quarterback, and I'm retiring a Charger. I think gratitude really is the first thing that comes to mind.
One of the greatest gamers of his generation.
There were so many highlights and fun Sundays.
Phillip Rivers just ripped it.
So many. But what I miss and what I'm most appreciative and thankful for are those relationships.
Go around the room here. When was Phillip Rivers last year playing in the NFL? Stu?
Oh, wow. 2020.
Samter?
Play 2021.
It was 2020 with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
2021, 2022.
Followed by Matt Ryan, I guess?
2024.
Yeah.
What are we doing? No, wasn't it Carson Wentz? I think it went Rivers, then Wentz, then Matt Ryan. I think. I don't know. I've made fun of Hickey so many times through the years. Let's see. Colts starting QBs. I think that's what it was. But he stopped playing in 2020. It took him this long to retire? Yeah, it went Rivers, Wentz, Ryan, Minshew, Anthony Richardson. Well, really, it was Rivers, Wentz, Matt Ryan, Sam Ellinger, Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson, and Joe Flacco. Those have been the starting quarterbacks since Phillip Rivers. All righty, that's a news brief, but congratulations to Phillip Rivers announcing his official retirement 4 years after the fact. All righty, we will come on back. Final segment of the day, update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, training camps across the NFL are opening. The Rams have a twist to their star. Quarterback Matthew Stafford will be on the side for a few days because of back soreness, while Terry McLaurin did not report to Commanders camp, frustrated over the lack of progress on a new contract. Tyrann Mathieu shocked the Saints by announcing his retirement after 12 seasons, the last 3 spent in New Orleans. He also played for the Cardinals, Texans, and Chiefs, with whom he won a Super Bowl. Mathieu, a 3-time All-Pro. The Blue Jays have rocketed to the top of the AL East thanks to a recent 10-game winning streak. Part of that streak bolstered by their strong play at Rogers Center. The first-place Jays won their 11th straight at home last night, and taking a series opener from the Yankees, Bo Bichette said the hometown crowd has really embraced this team.
This is the best, this fan base I feel like has been for us since I've been in the big leagues, so at least in regular season games. So yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, this is what I remember watching on TV when I was 17 years old at home, watching, Bautista and Donaldson and all of them.
The Brewers go for their 12th straight tonight in Seattle. They have a 1-game lead over the Cubs, who will host the Royals, who send Rich Hill to the mound at 45 years old. I'm Rich Eck.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
We started the show with the Dallas Cowboys. We will end the show with the Dallas Cowboys. So you have this whole Micah Parsons contract situation. My prediction earlier is that on opening night, the Cowboys will try to take away from the Eagles' moment, and that's when they will say, okay, we have a deal all done with Micah Parsons. But until then, it's wait. Micah, I guess, is kind of a hold in. He's there. He's on the field, but he is dealing with some sort of back issue. And then Trayvon Diggs, he had $500,000 taken out of his contract, so his base salary was reduced from $9 million to $8.5 million. And it was de-escalated because of the fact he didn't rehab enough at the team's facility. So I guess that's in his contract. He didn't rehab a certain percentage at the team facility. He went elsewhere to do his rehab, and it goes from $9 million to $8.5 million. It's kind of a weird clause. To me, I don't think it should matter where the rehab is, just as long as you're going through the proper rehab and then you end up getting healthy. But that's what they ended up doing there. So I'm going to play some audio here in just a second because Jane Slater of the NFL Network, this is why I honestly think we should try to go to Cowboys training camp one year in Oxnard. And I would love to go to SEC Media Days. I would love to go to Big Ten Media Days, right? And it would be fun if we get to go all the media days, ACC and the Big 12 as well. Don't want Rhett Lashley getting annoyed at me, claiming that the ACC is basically better than the SEC. But you have this every year at Oxnard. The first 2-3 days with the Cowboys in their training camp, there's always something. And sometimes they like to eliminate the distractions. That's not the Cowboys. So here you go. You got issues with Micah Parsons, issues with Trayvon Diggs. Jerry Jones speaks, and he takes a shot at not only Micah Parsons, but also the quarterback in Dak Prescott. If you pay someone, doesn't mean they're going to be healthy. And then it's like, everyone gets to talk. So here's Jane Slater with not only Trayvon Diggs, but also Micah Parsons as well. Here's an excerpt of that.
I was upset yesterday because it's not like I'm not putting the work in. Doing everything I was supposed to do.
This is Trayvon, by the way.
Of course, they do a great job here. But, I just thought it was for my best interest to, go somewhere else to rehab for my offseason. But it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, hopefully I'll make it back.
So that is Trayvon Diggs responding to getting $500,000 taken out of his contract. Here is Micah Parsons.
No, but I'm gonna talk to him. I just thought as a whole, everyone's situation is differently. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm here for my teammates. I'm not here to please another grown man. I'm here for them. I want to be here with Trey, watch him rehab, watch him get on the field, watch his growth. I want to be here battling with Terrence Steele. I'm here for these guys. I'm not here for him. So I think, at the end of the day, he's on the field with us. We're on the field playing the games and things like that. So I'm going to just control my teammates, keep boosting it, and, we're just going to keep playing together.
So it's like both these guys, it's like, all right, what can we do? I'm actually surprised. Mike, I'm not. Trayvon, I'm a little bit. I'm actually surprised the guys are even doing interviews, if I'm just being honest. That's the Cowboy way. The funniest part about that, it was like a 2:20 a clip in totality at the end. They're like, are you guys happy to be here? Jane Slater asked. And Trayvon Diggs basically gave a pep talk about how he's happy to be here. I didn't really believe it all that much. if I'm just being honest. And then Micah, they go, are you happy? And he's just like, I need what he's on, pretty much. Another day in the life of the Dallas Cowboys, if you were a member of that football team. Man, they're going to be, I'll tell you, I have no clue what to expect out of them this year. And ironically, even though we spent most of the show just talking about how I think a lot of the Cowboys players starting to get the game that goes on with Jerry Jones, I kind of think the Cowboys are going to be better than expected this year. I'm not going where Samter went yesterday, like 11 wins. I think that's a little crazy. But I think they could be like an 8-9 win football team. Like if they go 9-8 and they're playing on Wild Card Weekend, I don't think that's the craziest thing. But here's their schedule this year. It's at the Eagles, the Giants, at the Bears, and the Packers. If they get out of that stretch at 2-2, it get interesting. Now, the Eagles are going to be tough. The Giants, it's the Giants. I don't know what to expect out of them. The Bears should be better. And the Packers are a good football team. They get out there 2-2. I think you sign up for that right now. Then they're at the Jets, at the Panthers. They play, and then it gets tough. Commanders and Denver. But then you get the Cardinals and you get the Raiders. Like you look at those first 10, 11 weeks. Let's say they lose to the Eagles. They beat the Giants. Let's say they lose to the Bears, lose to the Packers. They'll go 1-3 to start the year. They beat the Jets. They beat the Panthers. Can you split against Washington or Denver? I don't think it's impossible. And then can you beat Arizona and the Raiders? Like, you get 6 wins through the first 11 weeks of the season. That's not crazy. If you get 5 or 6 wins, and if you get 6, you got to find 3 more to get you to 9. If you find 5, you got to get 4 more, and then this is where the schedule picks up. See, the second half, really Thanksgiving and on, that's where it gets difficult. Eagles, again, Chiefs, at the Lions. Vikings, Chargers, at the Commanders, at the Giants. You got to win those games early. Because down the stretch, you're playing Philly again, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, and Giants again and again. But you look at that team, they got star presence. They got Dak. They got CD. They got George Pickens. They obviously, Micah Parsons, the situation's going to get figured out. And they got to be healthy, too. Now, I don't know what to expect out of Schottenheimer. I don't. Only the Cowboys would make him the head coach. He wouldn't have got a head coaching job anywhere else. But this has been a team. Jerry, I don't like how he said it yesterday. But he's not wrong. They've had some injuries the last few years. But a lot of teams get hurt. And they have to work their way around it. But you lose certain positions, and it's tough to recover like that. Because there are holes with this football team. Like, I have no clue what to expect out of the running back position. And the offensive line is a question mark, too. All righty, that will do it for the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network on this Tuesday. Appreciate you listening to us, whether it's on one of your local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and we are back up and running, streaming on YouTube. Knock on wood. I'm not John Gruden. Knock on wood if you're with me. And that's 2 days back on YouTube and no hiccups. All right? Hickey's not here tomorrow, so we can't jinx us, folks. Big thanks to Roddy Jones, Stuart Kovacs, thank you. Samter, thank you. And each and every one of you, appreciate you tuning on in. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.